Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bobby Rebholz. I am a concept artist for the games and film industry. My specialty is characters and creatures. So in front of me, you'll see a smaller sketchbook that I have so you can see both pages. It's got thumbnails on the left, refinement on the right. All right, so what is today's lesson? Today's lesson is specifically diving into character design exploration, which is a creative journey everyone should take at least once, even if you don't like characters. Okay, so let me give you a little backstory of what it actually is, and maybe you can grab a sketchbook along with me. You can start scribbling with me. This is so much fun to do because character exploration goes into video games, goes into commercial work, visual effects, movies, you name it. All right, it's the process of digging deep into a character's personality, backstory, persona, and you want to create a very rich and believable character. It's an essential part of the creative process that can make all the difference. All right, so what am I doing here? This is something that a lot of beginner artists simply don't do, and that is creating thumbnails. Now, the one thing that I want you to give yourself permission to do and is scribbling. So you'll notice here that I'm scribbling a bunch of shapes while sketching a humanoid form in there. Now I don't have a set brief. I'm keeping this totally organic, totally as if I had no prior knowledge of what I'm going to be drawing. I just woke up one day and here I am wanting to design a cool character for my portfolio. And that is just, you know, the part of the scribbling process where you don't have a backstory yet. Now, eventually you will have to have a backstory because a lot of times portfolios fail due to the characters in there and the creatures and whatever you're making just not being believable. They don't have any reason to exist. So whatever character I decide to refine today, because over here is going to be my refinement, I'm going to give it a little backstory just to try to breathe some life into it. All right. I think I'm kind of influenced by the latest Mortal Kombat trailer I saw. I love Mortal Kombat. I grew up on Mortal Kombat. You know, I don't play it nearly as much as I used to when I was growing up and I was a teen, but I was kind of a nerd in that I would print out all of the fatalities and all the combos and stuff, and I would bring it to the arcade in a little trapper, like a little binder. Yeah, I was that guy. I was that kid. I should say kid, not guy. I was that kid, and I would learn all the combos. I get frustrated when I didn't, perform well, but all of a sudden I started beating everybody. And then I transitioned to Tekken. But what I'm doing here is I'm just exploring a fun little silhouette. Now, I mean, the proportions are actually not good. But it's my first drawing on here. So each one, I'm going to be thinking differently about it. So we're going to label that number 1. If you are an aspiring character artist, wanting to get into this industry, or just to be able to create this stuff in general, I know that there's a tendency to try to put down exactly what's in your head on paper, which is admirable. The problem with that is that we take it literally. We draw what we see in our head, and it ends up not being good because our imagination, as wild as it may be just from being human, we got problems. Okay, we got problems with the way we see things. And most of our concepts that we have in our artwork stems from things that we've seen in real life, be it skewed, be it a dream, or whatever. So this is why you need to take what you have on paper, or in your head, I'm sorry. Sketch it down on paper, or digitally if you're doing it in Photoshop. And you want to refine it into something workable, something believable. Okay. We're faced with a lot of challenges too. I mean, we'll get stuck in a rut. We'll feel like we're not good enough. But the truth is, every artist struggles with these same issues. Okay, so if you're going through 30 or 40 of these thumbnails, that's okay. 50 thumbnails, 60 thumbnails. These little humanoid sketches I'm doing right here, I could do these all day. I'd probably have 500 by 5 p.m. today, maybe even more. I don't know. I'd probably get a little burnt out. I'd need a break, go grab a snack or something. But you know, part of the joy of thumbnail sketching is that each new one gives you a sense of what could exist. Like this fella right here, it looks kind of like a clown mixed with parachute pants. I don't know. I don't know what I'm drawing. I think that's the beauty of it. I don't know what I'm drawing. I don't know what I'm going to end up with, but I'm going to number all of them. And hopefully, by the end of this, I'm going to have something admirable on the right side of my sketchbook. You know what? Why don't we just give it a giant forearm weapon? Why not? It could be a big killer clown from outer space with a forearm weapon and parachute pants. Is it nice? Probably not. But you'll notice that like over here and over here, even if these are really cruddy thumbnails, it's probably a good idea to put an emphasis on the head, even when it's at this stage. Because I want you to get in the habit of bringing in the personality and the character of it. When you put more details in the face, it kind of allows you to concentrate and look into the eyes of whatever you're sketching. I'll put some little buttons going on there. I'm probably also heavily influenced by the Terrifier movies when I'm drawing this clown here. I love Art the Clown. I think he's one of the coolest characters ever. I was never afraid of clowns when I was little. I don't know. Those of you that were afraid of clowns and still are, like as a kid or now as an adult, comment below and tell me what frightened you about clowns. I would love to hear your reasoning behind it. They are kind of creepy. I mean, if you're exposed to clowns at a young age with them not being creepy, then that's probably going to stay with you. But if they scared you as a kid, then they're probably always going to scare you. I have no idea what's happening with that. Probably put some little indications of shadow under there. So like I'm darkening off the points where probably an armpit would be or a shadow. So you can see that even if you're viewing this from, you know, YouTube, the screen, you can still make out what's going on just by adding bits of shadow in here. There we go. Oh, by the way, I'm using a pen for thumbnails because the cleanliness of the lines coming from a ballpoint, it's impeccable. It's unmatched. You can sharpen graphite all you want. It's going to get dull again. I love graphite. I prefer graphite when drawing in general, but when it comes to thumbnails, these are so messy that you almost need the lines to be clean. Okay, so that's one, that's two. I don't know how many I'm doing either, so let's just keep going. Okay, so let's do something with maybe like a big bulbous shape here. How do you actually do character design exploration? All right, so let's say you're watching me right now doing these drawings, trying to scribble. One technique is to create a mood board, actually. So I don't have a mood board with me, but a mood board is essentially you jump on Photoshop, or if you don't have Photoshop, you got Procreate, you got Krita, whatever you're using, even if you're just collecting images on your desktop. Okay, and you want to capture the essence and the character's personality and aesthetic. And the way to do that is to gather images that inspire you, both from character concept art that's existing in the world today via Google or Pinterest, Tumblr, whatever. I can't believe I even did that name drop, Tumblr. Is Tumblr still around? I don't know. I know Tumblr was always competing with Instagram and everything. But anyway, you know, you're going to want to collect reference images, fabric swatches, or even music that evokes the right emotion. One of the coolest things that helps me draw is whatever genre or subject matter that I'm drawing, I'll try to either listen to music like a soundtrack from a movie or watch something on the television in that same genre. So if I'm doing something, I mean, this thing right here kind of looks like something from Dune. So if I wanted to do a whole exploration sheet of characters that look like they could belong in the Dune world, I would put Dune on. Probably 1 and 2. I haven't seen 2 yet, actually. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't seen that. Please don't make fun of me if I have not seen the second Dune. I probably should. There we go. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, music. Another method is to do a ton of sketching. This is what we're doing, folks. Sketch, 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 sketch. If this image right here was the first thing that I saw in my head, I'm going to keep going, and they're going to be different. That's the beauty of this. Because you have to give yourself a chance for exploration, so you don't have the same cookie cutter characters that everybody else does. Because like I stated in my previous videos, if you keep making what everybody else is doing, you're making stuff for everybody and nobody at the same time. Put your own voice into it. And that's how the scribbling happens. That's how these thumbnails come about. Oh, you know what this reminds me of? Those of you that have seen the movie Fifth Element, you know, with Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich, there were these really cool, wobbling, kind of fat penguin-looking aliens in the beginning of the movie. Wonderful movie. Another thing about character design when you're doing these thumbnail sheets is that you want to make sure that each new concept is different than the other one. This is what's going to make your selection process more unique in general and more fun. Because let's face it, I'm totally guilty of this, I will admit it. We tend to draw the same type of thing over and over again. So when you think outside of the box and you start thinking of new silhouettes that you can have, it not only does it help your motivation, which is that's my prior video to this. So I encourage you all to watch that one too if you're looking about motivations, what can help motivate you as an artist, top 10 mistakes that artists make too. But when these silhouettes are unique, like this one, I really like this one. It tends to offer a way more enjoyable process when drawing. The other cool thing about having neat silhouettes is that when you give this to somebody else and you see that they're excited, you know you did a good job. And we all want to get that recognition at some point in our lives as an artist. We want somebody to tell us, hey, you did a good job. Not your friends and family, because they'll lie to you. But, people that you don't even know. I really mean that. Like, it's like singing. You think you're a good singer, and then you get on a show like American Idol, and then you hear the truth. But it's just like, when you're trying to improve as an artist, I mean, yes, asking a loved one if you're good, that goes a lot. I mean, you want the love of somebody, but it's better to ask somebody that doesn't know you so they can give you an unbiased opinion. Because unbiased opinions, in my humble opinion, will actually help you get better faster. Look how much time I've spent on this one. I always say, if you end up putting more detail on a specific drawing, like in thumbnail form, you probably should go with that one. So this is number 3. I'm not going to land on number 3. Maybe I am, but I still have more exploration to do because there's still some things that I don't even know what I'm drawing. Oh, geez. I guess most of you listening here have been in that predicament before. You just start drawing, you have no idea what's on the paper, and then you end up liking it. And then it turns into a masterpiece. Do you know why? Because you didn't come with something so pre-planned and memorized that if you fell off course, you ruined everything. It's like trying to memorize a speech if you're a public speaker. You're probably going to resonate with the crowd much, much easier if you just speak from the heart, because everybody can then relate to you. So if you just start inventing sketches like this, okay, I don't even have to refine anything. Like I've been saying in all of my videos, well, most of them, your sketchbook is your diary. Okay, your diary is something that not everybody has to see. I think I can squeeze in a 4th one in there. Let's try a different pose too. Maybe some of these can be human. Okay, like these, technically this one can be human, our evil clown. I don't know what to call it, but maybe most of these will probably be humanoid. I'm indicating a little bit of a face right there, but I don't know how that's going to be. I'm just kind of squeezing them in here. Maybe this can be like a tall, slender, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Gave him like a Joker pose. I don't know what's going on here, but let's see what happens. Kind of like in a spacesuit, some kind of retro futuristic city. Oh, got some knee pads on there, thigh pads. Give it a little black belt or some kind of belt, maybe a fanny pack. Oh yeah, futuristic amusement park goer from the suburbs. That's what it is. But we got to jack the socks up to the knee, tuck the shirt in unnecessarily, and then put New Balance shoes on it. And then that will be, no offense to anybody that does that. I'm going to get in so much trouble. Okay, different poses, different expressions. We haven't really gotten to expressions yet. We will, because once we find something that we actually like out of these, we'll do some expressions. So maybe this character is kind of holding up something. I don't know, maybe like a piece of paper. Like, did everybody sign this? Is everybody ready to go? Put some long hair on there. Maybe it's like this really cool cyborg teacher for a kindergarten class. He's like, does everybody line up? I don't know. We'll see. Costumes. You know, research is also a crucial part of the process. Okay, we have to research all the time. Whenever I'm given a new brief, like for character or creature or whatever, I'll spend half the day, if not the full day, just gathering reference. That's it. Just gathering images just to see if anything fits. Here's number 4. Okay. Reading books, watching movies, talking to people that can help you gain a deeper understanding of our character's world and motivations. So what I mean by motivations is why is this character even existing to begin with? And I've said it before with creatures too. And this is what I teach in my creature design workshop. I encourage you all to check out the pinned comment because I have the Creature Design Workshop Discord link in there, as well as the Creature Design Workshop. I'm giving a big 25% discount for August and September. Those are my special summer month discounts for my workshop. We conduct it on our Discord. So if you're new to Discord, that probably deters a lot of people away if you've never done Discord before. It's super simple. It's free to join Discord. Just join it. There's a lot of like-minded artists on there. Our channel, Creature Design Workshop, just surpassed 2,000 members, and we're already heading to 2,500. It just keeps going. Got an influx of people every day wanting to learn how to draw, but mainly learning about creatures and characters. It's so much fun. What in the world am I drawing? I don't know how that turned into some... Okay, hold on a second. Maybe this is the torso. I totally lost my train of thought because I was trying to tell you guys something informative, and then I drew this thing that looks like it belongs in the movie The Cell. I don't know. Okay, well, you know what? Why don't we make this one super tall, and then it's kind of like a gown. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so anyway, Creature Design Workshop, and then the Discord, we collect reference, we share pics of our studios, we post our personal work every single day, people comment, people help critique. We have an entire forum dedicated to just reference images, and our lovely new moderators have helped me curate that, so thank you all if you're listening right now. You're definitely welcome to join. If you want to sign up for my actual workshop, check out the link in the description. You can read testimonials. You can see student work. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Too many joints for that arm? Probably. But I don't care. I don't even know. Oh, you know what? Let's make some robotic arms coming off of the head that should not exist up there. It's kind of like they elongated their neck on purpose, like some cultures do. It's beautiful to look at if done right. Look at that canopy. I'm really intrigued by this one. This offers a neat silhouette, something that I haven't done before. It's insectoid, but also human. So I'm going to darken the under part of the arms and then the canopy part, because that'll indicate where shadow could exist on there. All right. So, gaining a deeper understanding of the characters that you're drawing. You know, those techniques that I was just mentioning about collecting references, fabric swatches, listening to music, movies, and stuff that helps you influence. You want to uncover hidden traits and desires that can make your characters feel more real and relatable. Have you ever seen those portfolio pieces where somebody specializes in character design and there's just something about the characters where you can't stop watching them and looking at them? You know, whenever I would see character work from Piotr Jablonski, this is probably my favorite artist now. His illustrations and character work for Dishonored, just absolutely amazing work. I'm always intrigued by the facial expressions that come from his creatures and his characters. Something very mysterious about it. Like, you can't quite read it, but you know it could be sinister. They could be laid back. It's just really cool stuff. But you definitely want to do that for your characters. There's no, and I want to give a little disclaimer here. Those of you that maybe are hesitant to becoming a creature artist or you're drawing along with me, there's no right way to do character work. Okay, please remember that. Well, there is, but not in the exploration form. Okay, when you start to refine these, yes, there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Okay, I mean, anatomy is the first right way that you need to actually get correct, because if your anatomy's off, it's not going to be right. Even if your character is anthropomorphic or is humanoid but not human, okay, you still have to have believable anatomy. You can't just plop a bunch of lumps down and say, oh, there's Hulk or there's a bodybuilder. No, because studios and people know that a human shoulder does not have 15 lumps in it. Okay, so if you're doing lumps for muscles, make sure that those lumps actually belong there, like the tricep, the bicep, you know, the brachialis muscles, all that stuff. All right. So character exploration, you know, it's all about exploring the unknown. And that's probably the most crucial part about the exploration process. You want to explore the unknown, and you want to make sure that the characters that you're making up can live and breathe, just like you can. Okay, so analyzing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's do several more. I'm probably going to do 8, because me being a neat freak when it comes to my artwork, I have to have a nice lineup. So that's going to be me. But I have to make sure that each one still looks different. So let's do something cool. I'm going to use a triangle. Why? I don't know why, but I think I can fit a good character silhouette in this. I might fail at this one, but it's okay. Remember, there's no right way to do character exploration. It also looks like something from Mario Brothers. If I do a Koopa, or one of those little mushrooms, I'm going to start adding some shapes on the side. I'm starting to see potential here. There we go. Okay, maybe. Oh, you know what? Why don't we do like a little face up there? Ooh, that's creepy. And a little neck. And then a face looking on this side. And then a face looking on this side. Now we're getting into the Silent Hill / demonic realm with these characters. That probably means that if this character is looking directly at us, how is it going to stand? So maybe I'm going to have one of the resting legs kind of come up a little bit. So the pivot, or not the pivot leg, the resting leg right here, I'm going to give it a calf muscle. Okay, so I'm going to put the foot coming down here just for like the anchor. And then this one is going to come slightly toward us. kind of like a casual walkthrough. Maybe this is like a banshee or some kind of creature that's just walking through the woods and you happen to come across it and you wished you didn't. So this is a female. She's barefoot. Maybe there's like some gross seaweed or some kind of, I don't know, what would you call that? Like moss or vines hanging from what appears to be a one-piece dress going all the way up to the neck. Oh, we're getting horrible now. Okay, so this is what's going on. We got this crazy robot. We have this killer clown. We have a futuristic robot. We have a teacher. We have, I don't know, something from Hellraiser. And then we have what could be something in a Mike Flanagan horror movie. I'm so glad Mike Flanagan is doing a new Exorcist. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Very, very, very excited about that. I remember seeing the Oculus this was years ago. Oculus was a great movie. Okay, so another thing that can make this cool is by not giving her arms. So I'm just going to give an indication that there's some shape going on here. Okay, this is one of the beautiful things about a pen, is you can see each individual shape. Or, I'm sorry, the line. And it doesn't really bleed into the other one. But you know what would be cool? What if there was a face right here? But it's not smiling. It's just like an open mouth with no arms. Maybe there's like lumps or some kind of indication like vines of something growing on the dress, and it could be arms. I'll just do like these asymmetrical spiky things poking off. We have ourselves a true entity. All right, cool. Let's darken that underneath the dress to give it a cool shadowy feel, like there's thickness and roundness going on the other side. There we go. That's cool. And those of you drawing along with me, if you're drawing what I'm drawing, or if you're making stuff up like I am with character exploration and scribbling, make sure that you're numbering these. Okay, if you're in school right now, your teacher would probably appreciate you numbering your thumbnails, because you have to imagine yourself displaying your work in front of a team so they can make quick, informed decisions about what direction to go with. There we go. This is kind of like a hat and then more faces up there. So it looks like the face turned out to be in the middle of the body. I have no idea what those are. Those could be smaller heads. Yeah, I'm kind of freaked out right now. All right, let's see what else happens. So we have 6 now, and I want 8. So let's do 8. Let's do something a little shorter. Okay, let's do something. How about we can see a little bit of the eye here. Maybe a little bit of the jaw and the chin. Okay, and then a long, well, no, not a long neck. Maybe something just super muscular. Like bulging shoulders. A strapping young lad. There we go. Maybe like a human and something else mixed with it. I'm going to make sure that the head is big enough. So it kind of looks like this thing is wearing a mask, but it's really not. Just got to get the abdomen in there, the chest, bicep, get some arms in there. So not everything's going to be perfect, but you at least want to show that the muscle groups are existing. Okay, so you have to draw in that pec right there, put a little bit of shadow in, a little bit of the abdomen. Okay, and you want to think about the stance. Maybe this character is resting on that front leg. Okay, it's always good to exaggerate the calf muscle, because when you exaggerate the calf muscle, it can a lot of times show that the character is pushing down and the weight is forcing the character to rest on that leg. Okay, you want to pivot that leg in. You know what? Maybe we can give him pants. Maybe. Does he have boots on? I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, why not? Okay. Let's just put some pants on him down there. Maybe he's got like a knife attached to his calf muscle right there. Got a cool little like cargo pouches right there. Just going to darken that off. Got a tank top on. There we go. Am I drawing a G.I. Joe? I don't know what I'm drawing. Maybe he's just kind of chilling. Just like resting on the ground right here because he just killed a giant creature. I almost drew Gears of War going on there. Maybe there's like a big gun resting on the shoulder. Okay, and then we want to show the arm bent up to hold that gun like that. Big, strong lad. There we go. And give a mohawk. That's kind of cool. So here's the thing about character exploration. I wouldn't have gotten to this point unless I had done these. So that's the beautiful thing about character exploration. You could do this all day. You could do this all day and figure out what strikes your fancy. If you do 30 of them and you just don't like any of them, that's okay. Give yourself permission to keep exploring. Remember, you're not doing this for anybody. I mean, you are if it's a client, but the client is also going to appreciate your exploration. Don't rush this stage. When you got your images, like from your mood board, you've done your research, you've read some books, you've read the brief, you've researched maybe the society that this character is from or the planet that it could exist on. That's good. It will reflect in your work. And whatever image you had in your head of what this character could be, now you're going to see other possibilities of what, came of your head, because you're still inventing it. I always like answering that question. Did you just come up with this in your head? Like, yes, but I also did some exploring too. See, look at this. I'm going back to this creepy female entity because I think that she probably could be this nasty spirit that haunts like a fun house or something. Ooh, you know what? Maybe. Oh, look at that. That was totally unintentional. The evil clown and this thing are probably related. Maybe they haunt the same thing. Maybe there's an amusement park and these demonic entities hunt that, and they hunt, young folks that come in there. All right. Okay, so this is number 7. Thank you all for sticking with me too. Hopefully you're learning something. If you're drawing along with me, amazing. Okay, let's do something different again. But this time I'm going to do the front of the face. And I'm probably going to do another female. But maybe this time she could just be a little bit more normal. Okay, maybe she has her veil on. Maybe some 1700 style wedding dress. Got her corset. Okay, got her arms coming out like this. I'm not trying to make it scary. I just scribbled in a face. So maybe I'll just like shade over her face because the veil is kind of hiding it. Some big sleeves right here. I don't know, something weird. Maybe like a big dress. That's kind of neat. It's funny, as I'm drawing this woman in this dress, probably not even a wedding dress, I don't know what kind of dress it is, I get a sense that she's like a hidden warrior. She's standing very confidently, so let's give her some bangs right there. So you get to see some bangs from her hair underneath the veil. I think that she can probably hurt us. Show a little bit of chest there, some corset, maybe do some vertical lines to help show that going down. Let's make her dress interesting. Not too sci-fi. Let's make it more, I guess, lacy, Like there's some neat stuff hanging off. There we go. Maybe there could be some nice flower-like puffs on the side of her hips. Okay, let's bring the indication of her arms in. Okay, that does not look like a female in a dress. You know what it does look like? It looks like a deformed female inside of a dress. So you know what that means. I'm probably going to have to make it hold an axe. Because look how she's pushing down. Okay. Maybe a sickle. I got an idea. How about a stick here, a chain hanging down, and then just a giant mace. Okay, she swings a mace around. She is a deformed entity that was married, and she has a mace from the 1500s. And she's huge, with huge shoulders, but a petite face and neck. And she is probably gorgeous. That's probably her seductive power, you know. It's kind of like the creature, the Kelpie. You know, Kelpies seduce men because they're at the water's edge. Those of you that know, like, cryptids and mythology and stuff. Kelpies are beautiful women, but then all of a sudden they turn into this horrific-looking horse female, and they eat children and humans, and they seduct men, and they just drag them into the water. I have no idea what is going on. I was going to give her Blair Witch hair, you know, like sticking out everywhere, but probably thinking that's not a good idea. We have a mace right here. The mace probably weighs more than her, and the fact that she can swing that around tells you that you should not go near her. That's the other thing about thumbnailing. You can tell a lot about her simply by how she stands, what she's holding, or what a character is doing in general. You know, their battle stance, or if they're kind of cocky and they think that they can take on the world. And that arrogance is also cool to put in a lot of characters too. Okay, so that's number 8. That's all I'm doing for exploration. All right, so let's take a look at these. Let's see what we did. We got 1, we got 2, 3, 4 up here. And then we got a little darker because I started getting into the groove of things. So we got 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we have to choose which one to go with. And I don't know. So the next part of this video, you're going to see what I went with. So maybe it was what you wanted, or maybe not. Let's find out. Okay, now it's time for part 2. So you're probably wondering which one I'm ultimately going to go with. Now, I am forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone, and my comfort zone obviously is insects and creepy, lanky insect shapes. So I'm not going to do those. Instead, I just kept coming back to this one. Number 6 seems to intrigue me the most. There's some other intriguing ones going on here. I really liked number 3 as a robot. I thought that was really cool. And I also liked the killer clown. Of course I liked this one, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do number 6. So what we're going to do is the refinement stage. Now, when it comes to character concept art and refinement, the actual silhouette for your thumbnail doesn't need to be translated 100% accurately over to the refinement stage. But what I am going to do is trying to pick, or I will pick the overall stance that I want. A lot of times, get this ink going here. Okay, so a lot of times I'll just pretend there's a metal post going down the body in the direction that I want these characters to stand. Okay, so I do like the fact that she's kind of casually, you know, just moving her foot, keeping her right leg as the anchor leg, you know, with all of her weight distribution mainly on that one. And it looks like she's turning to the left to look at us, and her left leg is turning towards us because she might step in our direction to either hurt us or haunt us or whatever she wants to do. So to avoid stiffness in our characters, we want to be sure to put as much motion as possible in it. Now the triangle shape doesn't help our cause, okay? But we're going to get past that. So right now, make sure this is out of the way. Okay, so right now I'm very lightly putting in that giant triangular dress. Okay, and I'm going to show just a little bit of the underbelly of that dress. So I'm going to open it up in the bottom. All right, so once we have that, again, if you're new to this channel, then I hope that you're getting out a sketchbook right now and trying to draw along with me. It doesn't have to be this crazy evil clown dancer. I don't even know what I'm drawing. I don't know what I'm drawing. I think that's the fun part though, right? But if you're taking your sketchbook out and you're drawing along with me, allow yourself to scribble these shapes on. Pen or pencil, doesn't matter. You could be even drawing with a crayon. Okay, and then what that'll do is it'll give you freedom to really explore, because we're not done yet. Okay, I'm looking at this thumbnail over here, and what's going to end up over here probably isn't going to look like that. It will, but it won't. I do know that that face in the middle definitely has to be there, because I think that's the selling point. And when you're doing character design, from thumbnail to refinement, you always have to have a selling point. Okay, so when you're in the thumbnail stage, the selling point is the silhouette, because that's all you have to go off of. There's not a lot of detail, you don't have facial expressions, anything. When you're getting the refinement, you're taking that thumbnail and then you're refining it to something that we can relate to. And a lot of times what we can relate to is a character's facial expressions. And even if you're doing creatures too. So I'm just lightly holding my pen and still allowing myself to be rough with the lines. So some of these lines in here are very, very light, almost hairy, but not quite. I do love that face, and I think I'm going to make it even scarier right now. Try to put a little bit of a shape on that mouth. I do know that the inside of that mouth is going to be pure black, so I'm comfortable with adding in that dark of ink right now. But I do have to be careful about the eyes. So I'm going to be careful about the eyes and make sure that I don't put it too large. One thing I do notice is I think I put this oval too high up. Maybe the underbelly of the dress should be down here. Okay, again, now you see why it's important to sketch lightly, even with a pen. So if you're doing it with a pen and you end up putting lines down that you ultimately don't want, you can't erase that, that's okay. See if you can use these markings to your advantage. So maybe there's like a dress detail or whatever it's wearing. Maybe there's a detail later on that she can have on that will allow me to just keep those lines in. So the next thing is when you do the refinement stage, you want to make sure that you're putting in more confident lines. So that means you're going to finish the lines instead of second guessing every movement. Now when I'm looking at the center line that I drew here, or almost a center line, these kind of dress details will probably need to be symmetrical to the most point. Like that, just very light. Okay, now the eyes, it's so creepy. They're going to be slanted down slightly. And the other thing that I think I'm going to do is I'm not going to keep the I don't even know this is a word, bulbousness. This is not going to be bulbous around the cheeks. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put in more of a face. I think that's going to help it. The reason I'm doing this is because, like I stated before, you want this to be relatable. We're in the refinement stage, which means that when we start looking at characters, can we relate to it? Does something look familiar? And in this case, you know, we as humans, we see these shapes. This is so creepy. Maybe I made the head too big, I don't know. I could have. Maybe I'll just make the legs longer. I could do that. And again, I can thin up that face even more. I'm not afraid to spark new lines in here. Okay, so now we have this extra layer of thickness around the chin. I didn't screw up. Again, I'm just going to use that to my advantage. What if I put some extra lines that are stacked up against each other inside this weird dress suit, and it looks like she has kind of like a neck accordion on. Now I'm pretty comfortable with how that's shaping up. That's why I suddenly got darker. That's kind of cool. I'm going to put a little indication of a nose. Oh yeah. Now she's looking rather alien. Like extraterrestrial. I really don't like that shape. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it spring outwards like this. Put 3 little knobs coming off, maybe opening up. And then I don't want to forget that in the original thumbnail, there's these weird almost heads coming off. So we got to figure out what those actually are. Maybe they are faces, but we're going to define those a little better. There we go. Okay, so there's 3 of them. Okay, and then the other thing is, I don't want to be predictable with my design. I could make each face up here even. Okay, like they're both vertically sitting up or attached to it, but I think I'm going to make some of them tilted. Like this one's tilted right here. This one's looking straight up, because there's no noses yet, no mouths or anything, so we can't really tell what direction they're looking. But maybe this one's looking down. Maybe that's like the back of the head here. You see how I'm just kind of inventing as I go? I'm still going off of what I drew, because this is the refinement stage. And in character design, let's just say, for example, I am actually doing this for a game. I'll probably do 10, 15, 20 more versions of this one. And that's not including colorways and iterations of that. Okay, so that's something else that you definitely have to consider when you're doing character design. But I do like having indications of small eyes right here, and then maybe like an opening for the mouth. Yeah, it's kind of creepy. And I don't know what these little stalks are, but if I drew hair coming down, then we're getting into the creepy factor, like Silent Hill. Oh, I don't even know. Some kind of haunted village. You know, you can kind of see the sadness in their faces. I kind of feel bad for them in a way. Maybe they're trapped spirits and they're fused with this ghoul or this entity or this deity down here, and this deity is what... Oops. I accidentally put that weird marking around the eye, so it looks like I'm going to have to use that, and I'm just going to put it around that eye. Happy accidents. You guys are literally watching me as I draw on the fly and not knowing where this goes. So I encourage you all to do the same. Bust out your sketchbooks, see what you can come up with. Maybe you're having a breakthrough as we draw. And that would be awesome. If you guys are having a breakthrough in your sketching ability, comment below and tell me what that breakthrough is. Because I'm sure that not just me, but anybody else reading those comments, they're going to relate to that. We all have that moment in time when we have a breakthrough with our artwork, and it feels so good, doesn't it? It feels so good to have that breakthrough, because you didn't know when it was going to come, if it was going to come, but it finally did. There we go. Now we're getting into something cool. Maybe it's like a little demon girl controlling a mechanized dress. Ooh, I don't know. This thing is evolving as we go, and it's a lot of fun. Another fun thing about drawing with a pen is the lines that you can get can be so precise, and if you press lightly enough, you can actually do some neat shading with it. But it's a different type of shading, so it's not like that graphite shading that you get. It's a different kind because depending on the ink color, you can go back over a space over and over again, and it almost looks like you used a smudge tool of some kind without actually smudging the work. It's pretty neat. So now that we're refining the actual dress or the structure that this creature's sitting in, I'm going to indicate asymmetrically where some lumps are, because in the thumbnail it looks like I indicated, it almost looks like vines or arms or limbs fused to the dress. So I think I'm going to do that. I now know, now that I'm refining this, that the proportions are off. It doesn't seem like what I did here, because if I'm measuring this correctly, if I measure the head and then I count more, so 1 head, 2, and then three heads. So let's count over here. So let's go, that's 1 head, 1, 2. Okay, so I need space, so that's where it needs to start. And then the length of the head, the third one is down here, roughly down here. So what that'll do is if I put the bottom of that dress on down there, all of a sudden it'll seem better. There we go. Okay, so here's the deal. In order for it to actually fit on the page that I'm sketching, I might have to keep the legs the same length, but only show some of the calf. And that's okay if I have to change some stuff down here from the calf. So let's see what can, see, I still drew the legs in there. So what I'll do is I'll just end it right here. So the calf muscle comes in, there's the shin, ankle, and by the way that the female is standing here, so this is the anchor leg, and I'll make sure that I have this direction of her foot coming out like this. There's her ankle. Okay, I'm going to indicate the big toe. There we go. I definitely want to concentrate, make sure the toe looks good, anatomically correct. And of course this is a creature, so she's not human, but at the same time you want the anatomy to at least be believable. There we go. Maybe she's got some horribly disfigured feet from being some kind of a banshee or a ghoul. Okay, the knee's going to be up there. And then what we'll do is we'll draw her foot this way. So this is another thing that you want to do when you want to do character design is anatomical studies, obviously your number one goal here, but two, you want to make sure that they have some interesting ways they can stand, they can move, because you don't want to make your characters too stiff. It's very easy to do. I remember when I first started off in concept art, all my characters were very stiff looking, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my characters. So maybe those of you listening right now can relate to this. Actually, I'm hoping you relate to it, because I would love to hear your comments about how you overcame the stiffness of your creatures and your characters. Because a lot of times it really does take, it's just trial and error. That's what it is. So I really like those shapes at the bottom of the dress that I drew in the thumbnail, so I'm going to keep those. Alright, so we actually have to indicate what those are. So maybe put like a little jewel right here, and then some really cool almost wiring or even bones. How cool would that be? You see how I'm just kind of thinking outside the box and seeing what works and what doesn't? Maybe there's some wiring over here that connects that jewel in the middle of those bulbous shapes. And again, speaking of bulbous, because remember I put this shape in here, repetition is one of the principles of design. So this shape that we see here is again shown right there, even though it's half, but I'm also showing the same type of shape up here. So we got the ovals, okay. And then we have this triangle it's the most visually striking thing about this. Yeah, we have a creepy looking face, but that's not why you would be able to see this right away. If this was some character in a game, you would probably see, uh-oh, there's the triangle lady, you know, instead of the actual name of the creature. There we go. You're going to start to see some refinement here on the head. I'm very lightly holding my pen on the side. So a ballpoint, depending on how clean the tip is, it'll still allow you to shade, but a lot of times it's not like a pencil where you could just go back and forth like this unless you have good control over it. You want to be able to walk those strokes down one at a time over a specific area, and then when you do that, don't stop until the area is covered. The reason is because when you start shading with the pen and you stop and then you try to continue that shading, when you press back down onto the paper, the ink is darker usually. So it's not as severe with a pencil because, you know, graphite is not ink. But when you do the ink, like let's say I'm shading the forehead and then I stop, unless you have good control and you go and you start up again, wherever you start, usually it's darker because your hand pressure has changed. So you want to make sure that you stay light the entire time you're drawing with a pen. Now the shadow's really starting to come in. That's kind of neat. Some of these areas will still not be as defined as maybe they should be, or you know, you could just leave them for another stage. But there are some ambiguous areas about her dress that I'm just going to put a little bit more detail in so we actually know what is going on. Maybe it shows on the side here to show that the dress has roundness to it. Okay, there we go. And that wasn't in there, but it is here. And I'm going to press a little harder underneath just to show where that shadow is. Now I'm confident of where that shadow is now, so I can actually get dark and it won't bother me. I'm going to darken the line up, or the line of her calf, so we know where it is, so we don't lose it. Okay. And I'm not going to make the bottom of this dress pretty. Like, it's not evenly cut. It's very jagged, because remember we have weird seaweed hanging off. This is when you practice thick to thin lines hanging off like that. And also it's not from Earth, and if it is, then something happened to this thing, or this female, where she was cursed. She started playing the Ouija board. I don't know, starting to think of all these things. Okay, so now I'm just going to add in some weird limbs that maybe make sense, but not quite. Maybe her hand is here, but it's kind of fused with the dress. I'm going to put in some hard lumps there and maybe show some over here on the front. And of course I've been talking this whole time, so character refinement, if you want to go from the thumbnail stage to something like this, it'll take about a half an hour. It just depends. I always say that the refinement stage probably should take 30 minutes minimum, because you don't want to spend any more than 30 minutes. There we go. And of course you could stay on this for hours and hours and hours. Okay. That was totally at random, and I don't know what that is. Hopefully you've liked this lesson. Thank you all for sticking around. This is a lot of fun, but this is how you refine characters, and this is how you would approach the thumbnail stage. If you enjoyed it, comment below, give it a like and subscribe if you'd like. I'd really appreciate that. Join the Discord, check out the links in the description and in the pinned comment, and hopefully you learned something today. And until next time, see you later.